Okay, so for lesson 1-4, it was over evaluating square roots and cube roots. So the objective for today was to be able to find the square root and cube root of numbers. So for the vocabulary, we have a number that is a cube of an integer. That's called a perfect cube. And then the cube root of a number is a number whose cube is equal to that number. So if you have, let's say, the cube root of 8, that would be 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. Okay. When we have cube roots, you're looking for what number times itself 3 times gives you that number. So for example 1, we're going to evaluate cube roots to solve problems. So here we have a little bit of a word problem and some geometry mixed in. So Leah is building a birdhouse for purple martins, birds that prefer cube-shaped birdhouses. What are the dimensions of each square piece of wood that Leah needs to build this 216 cubic inch birdhouse? So this has a volume of 216 cubic inches. So we need to figure out what side length times what side length times what side length is going to give us 216. So we're looking for what number times itself 3 times gives us 216. So to figure that out, we're looking for the cube root of 216. Okay, so for this, until you start to memorize your cube roots, you're just going to want to have to take a guess, check, and evaluate. Do you need to choose a higher number or a lower number? So let's just start with 5. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 times 5 times 5. See what that gets me. So 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. Okay, this is too low, so I'm going to have to use a number that's larger. So let's try 6. 6 times 6 times 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And I need to multiply that by 6, so I'm just going to write out my work over here. And when I do that, 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20, 21. Oh, I get 216. So the cube root of 216 is going to be 6. So Leah needs 6-inch by 6-inch pieces of wood. Okay, example 2. These just want you to evaluate, so we have some perfect squares and some perfect cubes. So these ones, you're going to have to try and see what number you think multiplied by itself 3 times is going to give me 64. So I'm looking for the cube root of 64, which would be a number times itself 3 times. Okay, so when I'm going to guess, okay, you're just going to choose something and go from there. Okay, when we did 2 cubed, we ended up with 8, and that's pretty low, so maybe try something higher than that. So for this, let's try maybe 3. So if I do 3 times 3 times 3, I end up with 27. That's still too low, so we're going to have to try maybe 4. So 4 times 4 times 4. That gives me 16 times 4, which is going to give me 64. So the cube root of 64 is going to be 4. The square root of 100, when you're doing square roots, you're looking for what number times itself 2 times is going to give you that number, and this should be one that you already have memorized right by now. So the square root of 100 is equal to 10, because 10 times 10 is going to give me 100. 49, the square root of 49, again, this should be one that you already have memorized by now, but you're looking for what number times itself is going to give you 49. So again, you're just kind of going through your multiplication facts, doing 6 times 6, 7 times 7. When you do 7 times 7, we end up with 49, so the square root of 49 is going to be equal to 7. And then finally, the cube root of 8. Did this one at the beginning here. That's our first cube root that we have besides 1. So we're looking for what number times itself. 3 times gives us 8. That's going to be 2, because 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. So our answer for this one is 2. Example 3, evaluate square roots to solve problems. So Sean cuts one sheet of colorful poster paper to cover the bulletin board exactly. What are the dimensions of the poster paper? Now this is a area problem versus example 1, which was a volume problem. This isn't only a 2-dimensional shape, so we're looking at a squared problem. Also, you can kind of look at the units on here, and we have inches squared. So we're really just looking at what is the square root of 144. So we're looking for what number times itself gives us 144. Well, I know 10 times 10 is 100. 11 times 11 is 121. 12 times 12 is going to be 144. So that's going to give us the square root of 144, which is 12. So what dimensions of poster paper? The poster paper is 12 inches by 12 inches. And that's how you evaluate the problem using square roots and cube roots. That's all I have for today. Thank you for watching.